our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure. Here we are with a remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students.
Hello students. Today we are going to see the chapter from Science and Technology part 2. Chapter number 1, Heredity and Evolution. Students, in the part 1 and 2 of the same topic, we have already covered certain topics. Let us recall it, the topics which has been completed. The first one was heredity. Second is transcription, translation, translocation, evidences of evolution, morphological evidences, anatomical evidences, vestigial organs. So these are the topics which has been covered in your first part and second part. In this part, we are going to cover certain topics like paleontological evidences, connecting links, embryological evidences. Let us start with the first one, that is paleontological evidences. Paleontology means the study of fossils is called as paleontology. Now, as the term fossil comes, the very first question which comes into your mind is, what are fossils? Fossils are the remnants and impression of organisms which remain preserved underground are called as fossils. In this picture, you can see the dead bodies of certain animals which gets buried into the soil and it remains for certain period of time. This remnants and impression are called as fossils. Now, the question comes, how fossils are formed? These fossils are formed in the following ways. You can see three pictures has been shown. The first is for a flood, second is for the earthquake, and the third is for the volcanoes. During these natural calamities, certain disasters carried out, and during this disaster there are certain plants and animals which dies and their body gets buried. This is the way how the fossils are formed. Now, how we can tell that which organism existed millions of years ago? We must have heard about dinosaurs in the stories everywhere. It has been said that these dinosaurs existed millions of years ago. Now, why we say such things? The reason is, from their dead bodies, that is from the skeleton, we can find out when that particular organism is formed. And by using this knowledge, we can predict exactly how many years ago this particular organism was found. This particular process is called as carbon dating. Carbon dating. Our body contains C12 and C14, which are the isotopes of carbons. From that, C12 is non-radioactive and C14 is radioactive. After death, the consumption of C12 and C14 stops and only decaying of C12, C14 starts and C12 remains unstable. The time passed since the death of a plant or the animal can be calculated by measuring the radioactivity of C14 and the ratio of C14 and C12 present in their body. This method is called as carbon dating. This technique is used in paleontology and anthropology for determining the age of the fossils. You can see a picture in which there are 5 layers. The lowermost layer is of snail and starfish, which are invertebrates. Above that, we can see fish. Above that, we can see frog and crocodile. Those 3 layers together forms the Paleozoic era, in which we can see the animals from the class Reptilia, amphibians, species. Above that, we can see snake and dinosaurs. That is called as Mesozoic era, that is reptiles. At the top, we can see Cenozoic era, in which we can see aves, birds, and mammals. So, in these fossil layers, we can see that the lowermost layer was of an unicellular. So, that is a proof which tells us that initially the organism which existed on the surface of the earth was a unicellular, and later on the changes has been carried out eventually after a certain period of time. That's what is about paleontological evidences. The next is connecting links. Now, what is this connecting links? Connecting links is actually a link between certain different groups of animals. Some plants and animals show some morphological characters by which they can be related to 2 different groups. Hence, they are called as connecting links. Here we have got some examples of it. First one, you can see an example of Peripatus. Peripatus shows the characteristics of Annelida, such as a segmented body, a thin cuticle, and parapoda organs. Similarly, it shows the characteristics of arthropoda, such as tracheal respiration, open circulatory system. That means this is an animal which shows the characteristics of Annelida also and arthropoda also. So they are said to be an example of connecting links, which shows the characteristics of both the 2 different classes. Second example is duckbill platypus. Duckbill platypus is an animal which shows the characteristics of reptiles, such as laying eggs, and the characteristics of mammals, that is, they contains mammary glands and hairs. So this is an animal which shows the characteristics of both the 2 species, that is about reptiles as well as mammals. The third example is of lungfish. Lungfish shows the characteristics of Pisces and amphibians. Like Pisces, he is a fish, and like amphibia, it shows respiration through lungs. So these are an example of certain characters of certain species of animal which shows a connecting link between 2 different class of animals. Next is the last proof, that is embryological evidences. Now, embryo means when a male gamete combines with the female gamete, it results in the formation of a zygote. That zygote develops into an embryo. In this picture, you can see the embryo of certain species of animals: fish, salamander, tortoise, chicken, pig, cow, rabbit, and man. In this picture, you can see there are three different stages which has been shown. In the first stage, there is a similarities in the initial stage that indicates that they have a common origin. Because in first stage, all the animals species shows same structure. So these are the examples which tells us or which gives us the proof for evolution. Thank you.